Well, Minister, a mere 9 months in office and already we've seen the first growth in tourism since 2007. You must be pleased.
Well, I'm pleased that we've had growth in tourism. It looks like it's going to be somewhere between 7 and 8%, at least in terms of numbers. We don't have the revenue stats yet. I'm conscious, though, of course, that that's a recovery after 2 years of very steep decline. So we have a long way to go before we're back to where we want to be. But we're targeting an increase of about 4.5% next year, and if we can deliver that, I'll be much happier.
Sure. Well, the government's jobs initiative, though, was particularly helpful to the tourism industry, particularly the introduction of the lower VAT rate of 9% and the PRSI reductions. You also made what seemed at the time and still seems a good offer to the airlines that you would get rid of the 3% departure tax in return for additional services. Any progress, or are you still hopeful about that?
Yeah, well, I think the VAT cut has been very positive, and PRSI cut, and also the new visa arrangements as well are going to pay dividends next year. And the latest quarterly household survey was out there the other day, and it showed that employment in the tourism and food sector actually increased in the second and third quarter of the year. It's too early to be celebrating that yet, but it is a good sign that the policies are working. On the travel tax, the offer is still there to the airlines. If they're prepared to significantly increase capacity and put on new routes, we'll meet them by abolishing the travel tax. But I am actually really assured that we're getting new routes anyway. Dubai is opening up, Washington DC, Aer Lingus is opening up new routes. I can't remember exactly where now. I think it was
Stockholm
and Verona, yeah, and additional capacity. So that's all very positive. But the offer is still there.
That's good. There's so many things about tourism, of course, that are dependent on factors outside of our control, not least consumer concern in our main markets about the euro uncertainty. Are you anyway confident that the new arrangements this week will avoid a second recession in Europe?
Well, I hope they will. I think the fiscal compact is a good idea. There's 17 countries all using the euro, and we know now that 1 or 2 countries mismanaging their budget or not regulating their banks properly can damage the currency for everyone. So it makes sense to have a fiscal compact. I don't think it'll be enough on its own. It's always been the view of the Irish government, and remains our view, that we'll need some measures to help us to reduce our debt, and also the ECB to take on the role that the Federal Reserve does in the UK by being the lender of last resort. And I think events may overtake us in the next few weeks. Yeah,
well, let's hope for a good result there. You mentioned we're looking at 4.5–5% growth for next year. That's what we're supporting as well, and what Tourism Ireland are looking for. It's a fairly tall order, unless there is in fact a resolution to the Eurozone.
It'll be tough certainly from the European markets. Bear in mind we can still have growth from the US markets and the UK market and the long haul market, regardless of what happens in the euro. And I know Joe Durkin with the ESRI was suggesting we do a 10% increase next year, which I think is very ambitious. But,
well, that's good. Joe gets it right though sometimes.
He does, yeah. But there are, like you say yourself, that there are a lot of factors beyond our control.
Yeah, good at least that there's still a little bit of time. I mean, if this uncertainty was still hanging around next February or March, that really
then I'd be more worried at that stage. Yeah. But just looking at the airport numbers, though, October was very bad. There was a big fall in numbers going through the airport in October. November's been okay, and December's actually been good. So there's a lot of volatility there. It's very hard.
There is still. Let's hope it moves on to something a bit more certain. You've really immersed yourself in the industry since you joined, and you've travelled extensively throughout the country and abroad promoting Ireland. What's your initial take on the industry? Are you fairly confident that we're solidly based and can get back to those peak numbers we enjoyed back in 2007?
Well, it's an industry that I like a lot. I really kind of got to enjoy the job in the last few months, and by and large the whole tourism sector and leisure sector is a very positive industry. They have their complaints and they have their gripes like everyone does, but by and large it's an industry that actually wants to do things and get things done and do things for themselves, and that's why it's been a pleasure actually to work with the industry. I think we've a lot there. We've a great tourism product, we've really good accommodation now and very good infrastructure, so all we need now is a bit of luck.
Well, indeed, and on that note, I wish you a very happy Christmas and thank you for your great support for the industry for your first 9 months in office.
Well, thank you. Thanks very much.